Thank you. We actually agree on this topic, that there is more than one way to be successful. I think Democrats have been saying that all along. We think that we need to have multiple pathways for opportunity and that there are multiple avenues for success. I would be the first to say that. I was a high school teacher for 15 years, actually National Teacher of the Year, and I know that college is not for everyone. So there is no dividing line here. Democrats support the idea of apprenticeships, of workforce training opportunities, and we have been completely on board with this issue from the very beginning. But I welcome this conversation today. It's very important to encourage students to pursue whatever pathway will present the most amount of success for them, whether it be higher education or workforce opportunities, and expose them to those opportunities and the realities of the job market. The trades and skilled labor offer careers to students directly out of high school, as well as the opportunity to learn as you go through apprenticeship programs, which would be lifesavers for many of the students that once sat in front of me. In Connecticut, 4,400 advanced manufacturing companies employ more than 161,000 workers. My district is home to 1/5 of that workforce, so I'm definitely supportive of these initiatives. More and more out-of-state companies are also moving to Connecticut because of the existing workforce in the aerospace and defense industries and the potential to grow. This spring, 2 manufacturers in the housing sector announced new facilities in Connecticut, citing the talent pool available in the state. Additionally, this year, Connecticut introduced the state's first manufacturing strategic plan with the vision of increasing manufacturing employment to 235,000 by 2033. Last Congress, the House passed the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which would have reauthorized federal programs to support workforce development efforts and transition to skills-based hiring. Unfortunately, the Senate did not take up our legislation, but we will continue to work on this, and I think we all agree. I also think that these programs have to be accompanied with both funding and transparency to make sure that we are doing them correctly. Dr. DeBroy, through Opportunity at Work, we have helped businesses implement skills-based hiring in their employment processes. You've acknowledged that removing formal education requirements is a first step to facilitating hiring through skills obtained through alternate routes. In your experience, what is the most common obstacle employers face when trying to adopt skills-based learning, and what can the federal government do to remove those barriers?
Thank you so much for your question and for your remarks. There's a number of ways that we could think about actually supporting businesses to do this work, because it is a different method than what many of them are accustomed to. I actually want to start by talking about our small and medium-sized businesses. They employ 60% of stars today. In fact, 43% of stars are actually employed by a business with fewer than 100 employees. For many of them, shifting these methods is actually quite difficult. Through WIOA, we actually have an opportunity to increase services to businesses that could support them in making these shifts within their own organizations.
Thank you. Dr. Kimbrough, you mentioned the utilization of a LinkedIn skills assessment. Could you elaborate further on what skills are being assessed through those evaluations and how they may be used for different occupations?
Yes, thank you for the question, Congresswoman Hayes. We have at LinkedIn the ability for members to put up to 50 skills on their profile, and they can then we encourage them to take skill assessments of some of the top skills that they rank on their profile. If they so choose, they can post the results of that skill assessment. Now, the benefit of the skill assessment is that we are actually in an economy where, frankly, skills are changing. I can look back 5 years and see what the skills were required for a certain occupation and see what they're required now based on job postings or based on what people who are in that job actually say that they can do. And it's changing. Digital skills are evolving. And so as a result, what we see is that it's critical to kind of continually acquire these skills because we don't know what the future roles will be.
Thank you. And one of the things I used to say to my students is, tell me what you're good at, and we'll figure out the job that's best for you. So I welcome this conversation, and I encourage anything we can do to make sure that my kids have jobs of the future.